Okay, I'm going to try again. I'm going to start this stream and see if this works this time. I had started earlier, but I had to reopen the stream. So I thought I would do a couple of questions from the weighted mean assignment because it's a tougher one. Let's take a look at page 12, and I'm going to redo number 1 for you. So weighted means that one of the tests or categories has the teacher has determined there's more importance to it, right? So Robin wrote 2 math tests. Test 1, she scored 85. Test 2, she scored 80. Test 1 had a weight of 3. Test 2 had a weight of 2. Calculate her weighted mean. All right, so test 1. I take the score and then I multiply by the weight on test 1. And I add all the other tests, right? There's one more. I take the score, I multiply by a weight of 2. And then I add up the weights, right? The weights are the 3 and the 2. So now the top number I get is, I get 415 on the top, 5 on the bottom. So I get a weighted mean of 83. Okay, this is the weighted mean. And weighted means exactly what it states. Like there are different weights attached to different categories. Or in this case, the categories are tests, right? Let's just move down. I'm not going to do the whole thing. If there are certain questions you want me to do, please chime in. Let's take a look at number 5. It's a little more involved in terms of reading. So it says a mosquito trap was monitored for 10 days. On 6 days, there were 100 mosquitoes. On 3 days, there were 80 mosquitoes. And on 1 day, there was 110 mosquitoes. So there were 100 mosquitoes 6 times, right? This is the weight. Now, it's not a physical weight, but it's the weight or the frequency that something happens. So the frequency is the number of times something occurs. So there were 100 mosquitoes. 100 mosquitoes occurred 6 times, right? So this is the weight, this is the weight, and this is a weight. So you'll notice that 6 plus 3 plus 1, that's my 10 days, right? That's the sum of the weights. So I have 100 mosquitoes occurred 6 times. I'm going to write it in the same order that I did up here, right? This is the score, I guess, or the tally times the weight plus, let's see, the tally. The score was 80 one day or for 3 days. And then 110 only occurred once. Okay, now I do the sum of the weights, the sum of the frequencies. So in the top, I get So I get 950 as a total over 10 days, and that leaves me with 95. The weighted mean is 95. The weighted mean. So I'm going to say the weighted mean, and in this case, it refers to the number of mosquitoes. The weighted mean number of mosquitoes in the trap is 95, okay? And it says, if the mean is 90 or more, this mosquito or the city will fog. Okay, so it looks like the city will fog since this number is greater than 90, right? So they said they'll fog if it's 90 or more. Well, it's more than 90, so the city will fog. All right, that was number 1. Number 5. Let's take a look at maybe one more question, unless there's particular question you want me to do, just let me know, okay? Let's take a look at number eight, because it's a little more involved, right? So number 8 states that as part of the application process at Microsoft, applicants have to complete a 3-part general knowledge test. The first part has a weight of 1, the second part weight of 2, and the third part weight of 3. Okay, that's easy to remember, right? And then it says, Gideon applied and wrote the test. His scores are shown below. They'll only consider applicants who score 64 or better. Will he be accepted for the job? Judge your answer using math. Well, they have given us a percentage. They have summarized everything in a percentage, but his marks aren't given as a percentage. So the first thing I do is have to convert to percents, right? I have to convert part 1, part 2, part 3 into percent. So he got 17 out of 20. Right? Another way to write that backslash is division symbol, and that means divide. To convert anything to percent, we just multiply by 100, right? So 17 divided by 20 times 100 gives me 85%. Okay, that's 1 mark. 14 divided by 20 times 100 is 70%. And then lastly, this 11 divided by 20 times 100, oops, gives me 55%. Okay, so those are his scores. Now I'm going to take these scores and turn them into a weighted mean. So I'm going to move my paper up so I have all my answers on one paper here. I don't know if you can see that. I'm just going to do this. Okay, let's do this. Number 8. So I have 85% weight of 1 and 70% weight of 2 and 55% weight of 3. Okay, these are my weights. I sum them all up. Okay, so then I have my top number is I have 390 divided by 3, 4, 5, 6. And we get 65%. All right, it says they will only consider applicants with 64 or better. Will he be considered for the job? So he will be considered for the job. Since his score is greater than 64%. It's 1% higher, right? But that's all it takes. So that's how we do weighted means. It's not super complicated, but definitely more complicated than just a regular mean. So all the following of the other questions in this assignment will be done in a similar way. Make sure if they ask you to make a decision that you justify what you've done. So answer in words. So I'll let you work on those on your own if you haven't already finished that assignment. Try and do it maybe over the next few days. And we're going to head into the last lesson of this unit. And then we'll be ready for another test. So again, once you're finished a unit, you can let me know. And I have taken to emailing tests to people. So that's what I'll continue to do. All right, lesson number 4. Percentile ranking. Now the word ranking means you're being ranked in a group, right? You're being ranked your position in a group setting. So let's see why we would need a percentile rank. Percentiles are used by statisticians to rank scores in order. Okay, I'm going to say rank scores or people. We can rank anything, right? You can be ranked in a class. You can be ranked in a job interview situation, right? You can be ranked in a lot of different situations. A high percentile rank means that the score is higher, while a low percentile rank means the score is near the bottom of the group. An actual percentile rank tells you what percent of the group falls below that certain rank. So it's pretty wordy, right? Percentiles are calculated using the formula. Percentile rank equals B over N times 100, where B is the number of scores below the given score and N is the total number of scores. Now, your percentile rank formula is included on your formula sheet as well. B over N times 100, and they actually define it for you. Okay, so if a percentile calculation results in a decimal value, we always round up to the next highest whole number. For example, 68.7 would become 69. 15.02 becomes 16. We always round up, okay? And I guess just to clarify, to be completely clear, a percentile rank is always a whole number, because you're defining your position in the class, like whether you're, or think of it as a race. People run races and they come first, second, third. They may tie for third, but you never finish in a race as the 1.4th person in the race, right? You're always first place, second place, third place. That's what the ranking is. It's an order, it's a placement. So let's take the first example. Jen and Bob just wrote a math test. Jen scored in the 87th percentile and Bob scored in the 76th percentile. Explain who had the better result. Well, Jane had the highest, a higher ranking, right? Jen has a higher ranking. Okay, so the higher the ranking, so she had a better result. The person who would be in the 100th percentile would be top of the class. Gord and Kim both had their blood pressure taken. Gord scored in the 99th percentile and Kim scored in the 50th percentile. Explain who had the better result. Okay, this is really misleading. Gord had, because we're talking about blood pressure, Gord had the higher blood pressure reading. So he is the higher ranking in terms of blood pressure. But in this case, a lower rank is healthier and therefore is a better result. So you have to really know what you're studying too, right? If we're talking about blood pressure, you want to be in the lower ranking, right? But he does have the higher ranking regarding blood pressure. Let's take a look at example 3. Julian scored better than 23% of his, or 23 of his classmates. If there are 32 people in the class, calculate his percentage. Is there a way to tell what actual mark he got on the test? Okay, well, let's see. The formula is percent over n times 100. All right. B is how many people scored below him. He scored better than 23 of his classmates. So this is the number, right? B, the number who scored below Julian is, well, 23 scored below him, right? N is the total number of students, the total number of people. Is 32. Okay, so I have my B, I have my N. Those are the only two numbers I need for my formula. So percentile rank equals B over N times 100 equals, all right, let's see. Okay, so I get 71.875. Okay. So the percentile ranking always has to be a whole number. I have to round. And not only do I have to round, but you always round up. So 71 and a little bit is always going to round up to 72. So we say the percentile rank is 72. All right, let's take a look at a couple more examples. There's example 4. Let's see if we can get through 4, 5, and 6, then I can give you tomorrow's class to work. Example 4, the following data are obtained from an experiment. Find the percentile rank for a score of 29. Well, first let me just make sure. It looks like they're all in order. That helps. Okay, so B, the number of scores below 29 is, okay, this is my B value, right? So here's 29, the number below 29, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, N, total number of scores. Is, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so percentile rank equals 4 divided by 12 times 100. So I get 4 divided by 12 times 100. I get 33.33. So the percentile rank, even though rounding properly, we would round down to 33, percentile rank is a little different. It always rounds up. So my percentile rank is going to be 34. Let's see, find the percentile rank for 41. Well, what's my B value this time? There's a lot more scores below 41, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. So B is going to be 10, and of course stays 12. So a percentile rank, now the percentile rank of 41, the number 41 is at the top of the class, right? Because these are placed in order. So it should be really close to being like close to 100. It's going to be a very high percentile rank, much higher than a percentile rank of 29, right? Okay, let's see. Percentile rank is 10 over 12 times 100. 10 divided by 12. So we get 83.33, and that would be the 84th percentile. And you can add the little, like you can add 34th, 84th, just to kind of bring it home that this is like a race. Percentile ranking is like a race. So it has to be a whole number, right? This tells you your placement, how you finished the race. In this case, the 80, you're actually at the top of the class. Like the 100th percentile means you're at the very top of the class. So you're the 84th position. The business school at the University of Maine grants entry interviews to students who score in the 90th percentile or better. She gets a score of 93. Will she get an explain? Well, this is an example. We can't calculate her percentile rank without given more information. Cynthia, it's just a function of percentile rank. If you look on page 14 under the note, it just says percentile ranks are always rounded up. And it's just the definition of a percentile rank. That's why. Without giving more information, therefore, we can't tell whether she gets an interview or not. All right. Last example. At a local elementary school, there are 50 students. The height of all the students is measured for their records. Cynthia is one of the students. There are 4 students taller than Cynthia and 5 that are the same height as Cynthia. Calculate the percentile rank of Cynthia's height. Okay, I need B and I need N. Sometimes N is easier to figure out. Yeah, it's right in the question. N is 50. I have to figure out how many are below. Now, they didn't come out and tell me, did they? 4 are taller and 5 are the same height as Cynthia. That would mean, okay, let me just figure out. Here's where Cynthia is. Okay. So 4 are taller. 4 are taller. And 5 are the same. This is my little system. I don't know if it makes sense. 5 are the same. So that means in total, how many students do I have represented here? 4 and 5 is 9 and 10. 10 students in total are represented here. And if there are 50 in total, this means 40 students are below Cynthia or Cynthia's heights, right? Because I have 40 students here, and then I count 45, 46, plus 4 would give me my 50. So that's how I figured out what B was. Okay, so now we're going to calculate the percentile. That's true, Cynthia. Percentile rank is 40 over 50 times 100. Whoops, my calculator turned off. So I get 80. Okay, so percentile rank is 80, 80th. Okay, percentile rankings are kind of reverse of racing order, right? The higher the percentile, the higher you're finishing in the class. So you're at the top end of height if you're in the 80th percentile. So that's it. Just remember, percentile rankings are always this. I didn't have to do any rounding here. It worked out to a perfect whole number. They're always whole numbers because they're your placement in a group. So therefore, they have to be a whole number, and you always round up. Usually N is pretty easy to pick up from the question, like the total number. It will usually tell you the total number. It's the B value that can sometimes get a bit murky, and you might have to do a little bit of kind of a little bit of detective work to figure out what the value is. So that concludes our lessons for percentile rank, our examples. So I'm going to let you get started on practice assignment 4. You're going to work on that tomorrow. I'm not having class tomorrow because I actually had to take a personal day tomorrow. So I'm not going to be online tomorrow. But please work on the assignment. If you get really bored over the long weekend, you probably won't. But if you do, you can start the unit review, and then you can let me know when you're ready for a test next week. It is a holiday on Monday, and it is supposed to be nice this weekend. So hopefully you can get out and enjoy some outdoor time. I know I'm going to look forward to that if the forecast stays sunny like they say it is. So please start working on this if you have time, please, and also let me know through email if there are any questions you have. So I won't talk to you till next week. Have a wonderful long weekend, and I will see you Tuesday.